This movie tells the story of Elliot, a young cater waiter living paycheck to paycheck in New York City, who one night catches the eye of Sophie, a confident, successful marketing executive operating in a world completely out of his reach. What begins as a thrilling one-night encounter quickly grows into a whirlwind that sweeps Elliot off his feet. But what feels like the beginning of something real to him is, for Sophie, simply a good time with no strings attached. When Sophie pulls away, Elliot cannot accept it. And what started as infatuation slowly curdles into obsession. The film opens at an upscale event where Elliot is working the floor as a waiter, invisible to the guests unless needed. Then he notices Sophie, poised and self-assured on the phone, wearing the effortless ease of someone who belongs everywhere. When she steps outside to take a call, Elliot follows and offers her a cigarette, a small gesture, noticed. Before the moment ends, Sophie leans in and gives him her hotel room number, 706, and tells him he can come see her later that night, just like that. After his shift ends, Elliot arrives at room 706 with a bottle of champagne lifted from the event. The spoils of war, he calls it. Sophie puts him at ease completely. She asks how old he is. When he says 33, she mentions she thought he was younger. After they kiss, she sends him to shower. When he steps out, she is already on the bed, waiting. In the morning, she is up and dressed. She tells him to sleep in, order breakfast, that it is all on her. She mentions, almost casually, that he was really good, and that she might need to see him again. Might. She will text him. Elliot gets home to his mother, Peggy, who was up all night worrying. What if she had fallen down the stairs? He brushes it off, says he stayed at a coworker's. She smells something on his clothes and asks if it was a girl. He denies it. Peggy has chronic fatigue and severe agoraphobia, rarely leaving the apartment, and Elliot is clearly her anchor to the outside world. He retreats to his room and waits. Sophie's text eventually arrives, brief, warm. He has not stopped thinking about her for a single second. One morning, Sophie video calls him and asks if he wants to go to Paris. He laughs, assuming it is a restaurant. She clarifies, Paris, France. She is going for a work trip, a few nights, and thought he might want to join. He mentions his job. She tells him to call in sick, sends him flight options, and disappears into a meeting. Elliot stares at his phone. He books the flight. He lands to find a driver waiting and Sophie greeting him with easy affection. At dinner, they finally talk properly. Sophie is a partner at a pharmaceutical marketing firm. She never planned to end up there, but finds it amusing. Elliot admits he dropped out of college after one semester, that he fancies himself a photographer, but never really pursued it. He starts listing everything that makes him seem ordinary next to her. Sophie cuts him off. Maybe the other men are just not as hot, she says. Or maybe they just do not f*** as well. He laughs for the first time all night. The next day, Sophie leaves him money and goes to her meetings. Elliot wanders Paris alone, completely out of his element and privately thrilled. He spends the money on a small camera and photographs the city all afternoon. When Sophie returns that evening and sees the camera, she asks if that is what he spent the money on. She says it is cute. She tells him to play photographer and strips. He takes photo after photo of her, laughing in the last of the daylight. The tension builds until he sets the camera aside. Those days in Paris stay with him long after they end. Back in New York, Elliot tells Peggy the trip was for work. She presses him for details about Paris anyway, lights up hearing about it, says she has always wanted to go. He promises to take her one day. Days pass. He sends Sophie a voice message thanking her for everything and suggesting a night out. More days pass. She replies and accepts. Elliot buys new clothes. His mother irons his shirt and asks about the mystery woman, bombarding him with questions. He tells her it is a first date and brushes off every single one. For the date, Elliot takes Sophie to see his friend Sam perform in a play. He is proud of it. Sophie is polite and visibly bored. Afterwards, they go to the bar next door. When Sam and her boyfriend arrive, Elliot starts bragging. He announces Sophie was the one who took him to Paris, oversharing details, trying to fill a silence that keeps widening. Sophie orders a vodka martini, dry, with a twist, and waits for a window to leave. She excuses herself early, citing an early meeting. Elliot catches her outside, tells her he can feel how much she has pulled back, and talks her into spending the night anyway. She agrees, but only at his place. He sneaks her past his mother's door, whispering that his roommate lives down the hall, and she is a little crazy. The coast is clear. Something has shifted, though. The warmth is gone. Sophie does not enjoy herself the way she did in Paris. She leaves in the early morning with a quiet finality. Shortly after, Sophie sends him a message. She had a great time, but she does not think they are a match. She wishes him the best. Then she blocks his number. Elliot cannot process it. He shows up at her building, insisting to security until she comes down. He demands to know what he did wrong. Sophie tells him there is nothing to be upset about. They both had fun. It was a great memory. Now they move on. He says he does not want to lose her. She tells him firmly, "Now we move on, Elliot." He pushes further, suggesting she is seeing someone else. She tells him it is none of his business. She gives him a new number and says they can talk like adults if he calms down. He takes it as a second chance. It is not. The calls and messages do not stop. Sophie spots Elliot outside her gym. The elevator in her building opens on its own, twice. An envelope arrives slipped under her door. Then, the photographs from Paris, the private ones, are printed and left at her building's front desk without a name. She leaves him an angry voice message telling him she no longer feels safe and that he has gone too far. Wanting to understand what she is dealing with, Sophie visits a woman in Elliot's social circle who once had a brief crush on him. The woman says he seemed a little strange but never dangerous. She also mentions, almost offhand, that Elliot does not have a roommate. He lives with his mother, who has some kind of chronic condition and barely leaves the apartment. Sophie goes to the apartment. Peggy opens the door and is immediately warm. Sophie introduces herself as someone from a medical research company doing house calls, says Peggy could be a good candidate for a clinical trial, and is invited cheerfully inside. When Elliot comes home to find Sophie sitting with his mother in his kitchen, it stops him cold. Sophie says a gracious goodbye and leaves. She has made her point. She knows exactly where he lives and what he has been hiding. When that fails to stop him, Sophie agrees to meet him one last time at the bar they visited after Sam's play. Elliot arrives drunk and smug, telling her she knows now what it feels like to wait. She stays level. She has made herself clear, she says. He tells her he loves her. She places cash on the table and says there are plenty of women in this city who would be happy to go out with him, and the best thing he can do is find them. He grabs her arm as she walks away. She hits him hard in the stomach, throws the money at him, and leaves. Days later, Elliot calls her at work, a number he should not have, and leaves a message telling her she is the only one he wants and that he will see her soon. The morning of Sophie's most important client presentation, the private Paris photographs appear scattered outside her office building where colleagues and clients will see them. Her co-worker David is already stepping in to take over the meeting. Sophie walks into the room and leads the presentation herself. She wins the account. When the clients leave, she finds Elliot and goes to his room and beats him until she is too exhausted to continue. She says nothing. She just leaves. Afterwards, Sophie rebuilds. The account is secure. The harassment has cost her time and peace and a sense of safety in her own building, but she is standing. For Elliot, none of it registers the way it should. Later, his mother finds him sitting quietly on his bed. He tells her he found someone, Mama. She is the one. And it is completely clear that nothing, not the rejection, not the visit, not the beating, has changed a single thing about the story he is telling himself. And that is how the story ends. If you enjoyed the video, please subscribe to the channel and drop a like and a comment to keep me going. Thanks.